All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to AB Start Select number 2.
Number two, yeah!
Okay.
I'm pumped.
Sound like it.
I am.
Okay, good deal. So, what's up, Skibbs?
Uh, Not much. Big 4th of July weekend. Ready to
Yeah.
play some Chrono Cross.
Oh, yeah.
Uh, that always is an entertaining night, even though I may not feel the best in the morning. But
Seeing as I actually started early today, I can sympathize with that.
yeah, now I will be following you shortly down that horrible, horrible rabbit hole.
You, you look all, you look like you've already awakened the morning after is what you look like right now.
I got up. It's hot outside, and I decided to wear a winter hat, and I got the hater blockers on, so.
All right. Well, we're going to go ahead and get started here. Hasn't been a ton of new stuff this week. Hello to everyone in chat.
Yes, hello.
Hasn't been a ton of stuff this week. Couple of little things to touch on and a lot of opinion, I think, this show. Unlike last time where it was a lot of static fact.
Yeah.
Although we will be revisiting a thing or two. So let's start it off with probably the part everyone likes, which is all that rage. Uh, hopefully, last time we said we might have some rage that night with the stream, and then it was fairly easy Chrono Cross night.
Yeah. Yeah, it was very enjoyable.
I don't think either one of us wiped actually, which was
Yeah, that usually happens at least to one of us at least once.
no shit. All right, so first subject today, getting right into it. All this week, EA has been fighting a bunch of non-disclosure violations, mostly with Battlefront. That's their big IP this year.
Yeah.
In fact, I believe one of the EA devs has basically said that's their make or break title. So they obviously have a lot of stock built into Battlefront, especially with the whole Star Wars new movie coming out and all that kind of mess.
Yeah. And I mean, it's Star Wars in general.
Right. I don't know. Did you ever play the other Battlefronts? I think there were two.
I did somewhat. It's been a long time, and they were good games. They weren't super high on my list, though.
I actually really enjoyed the first one. The second one, not so much. They didn't really do that one right at all. In fact, I think they've pretty much said they were slightly embarrassed by the way that one turned out. But there's a lot of hype behind this one, to the point where a lot of the big streamers, Lyric, I know that's way up on his list. Bunch of people. I'm looking forward to it. But I think the main discussion here is you've beta tested stuff before.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if you've alphaed, but you've done something of the sort with testing. I've betaed a lot of things. Non-disclosure agreements exist for multiple reasons. First and foremost, in my opinion, would be these aren't final builds of the game in question. These are very, very early builds that are going to change a lot. And when you have testers, which, let's face it, no studio, no matter how big it is, not even EA size, can internally test a game. Especially one that's going to have multiplayer 100 on 100 battles or however many units. I don't know how many it's going to be in this one, but
yeah, not something on such a massive scale like that. You gotta do beta tests for people that outside of the company to get into.
Right.
There's no way.
Well, what happens though is you get a big company like EA and they want to test this game out. They have testers sign non-disclosure agreements and they violate them. EA is already considered a bully on the block when it comes to a lot of things. If they start going after these people with legal implications, it's not going to help their image.
No.
But on the flip side, I kind of want them to go after these people because having signed many of these myself, I take them very seriously because no, you're not being paid by the company, but you do get the ability to influence the final product of the game.
Yeah.
And that's a privilege in and of itself.
And that I'd hopefully be able to do it again a second time too.
Right. I mean,
Get myself blacklisted from
well,
being
for
able
those
to-
that haven't ever done a beta or an alpha, I mean, it basically becomes a resume for you to apply to others. You know, they'll check forum activity, they'll check bug reports, all that kind of stuff. It's a big deal, especially if you're really wanting to get into a game early on. This is a big problem to me because the last thing we need is companies distrusting us even more. They already don't want to listen to us. When you start distrusting us, it's a setup for a bad situation.
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah.
mean, I don't know what EA should do here. I'm kind of the opinion they need to at least pursue this a little bit. You know, I'm pretty sure these people posting to YouTube, they could at least have their channels banned.
Yeah.
That's without taking legal action. I doubt you're hitting anyone monetarily, but you know, if
No.
you're gonna post content that's still under non-disclosure or copyrighted, then
You're
deserve
asking
to have your
for it.
channel closed.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And you know, it's like you said, it's not like anybody's going to end up losing any money out of it. As far as I know, I mean, none of these people that have been leaking stuff are, you know, personalities or names that,
Right. Most of those guys are going to take it very seriously.
yeah, they don't want to ruin what they've made their career.
Right. I mean, I was just bringing that up basically because we both baited stuff before. I'll take it to the extreme where I won't even tell people verbally anything about the game. You know, it's just, if you look at this more as a privilege than anything else, then you would take it a little more seriously. I guess that's the point I would try to make in it. Obviously, these people aren't taking it seriously at all.
Nope.
Surprise, surprise, it's the internet.
Yeah.
Okay, moving on to point number 2, something that hits me a little bit more than it does you, although I know you are planning on getting a Nintendo system. You were planning on getting a Wii U, if I remember correctly.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I was planning on doing. And you know, I dabbled or thrown the idea around in my head of getting a modded DS so I could stream with that as well. Because that's one of the things that's kind of, since I've started streaming, you know, as I do, it's become kind of almost a barrier for entry for me when it comes to getting into new anything, games.
No, I
systems and stuff
100%
like that.
agree. It's very hard for me to spend, you know, 30 hours a week streaming and then buy a game that I can't stream because when am I going to play it?
Right.
Working 40 hours a week at least, streaming 30, there's not many hours left. Sleep and eat.
Yep.
Nintendo this week, I believe it was this week, it got leaked that their production of the new console, the codenamed
NX. Yeah.
is slated to start mass production, at least assembly of parts, as early as October of this year. Now, it would not, they're still saying the actual manufacture end date and sales date would still be around June or July of 2016. But the Wii U has suffered, let me give you some hard numbers. The first shipment of NX systems they're aiming for is 20 million worldwide. That's their day one distribution hopes. The Wii U, as of March of this year, and it's been out since 2012, has sold 9.5 million.
They definitely, you know.
I mean, so the NX is going to get twice as many units shipped on day one as the Wii U has sold over its almost 3-year life cycle.
Either they are really confident that they've hit a home run, or they want to be able to ship enough units on day one that they don't have to make any more ever.
I never thought about it that way. You know what this tells me? It tells me the Wii U was never supposed to be a big deal. They've sworn up and down that it, and in fact, Iwata's basically said they're not discontinuing support for Wii U and, strangely enough, 3DS. I don't know why they would stop any support of 3DS anytime soon. It's the highest selling handheld anything.
Yeah.
But he's saying through at least the first 2 years of life cycle of the NX, they're still going to be releasing Wii U software. I don't see that happening. The Wii U has been a complete and utter failure. Other than the Virtual Boy, has to be way up there on the list of least selling systems they've ever done.
And I just don't. Aside from the success or lack of success from the Wii U, something I don't really get. I mean, I guess I get it to a point, but you want to sell the new system. Continuing support for the old system, continuing to dump money into stuff for the old system, especially when it's been a failure, that just doesn't seem like a good idea to me. It divides people for your multiplayer games. We see that every single time a new generation of consoles comes out between PlayStation and Xbox. You get people that were playing whatever Call of Duty, whatever game you want to throw out there together, and then new system comes out. Half their friends upgrade immediately, half don't or can't, and now they're divided. But being that Nintendo's doing this so quickly after the Wii U, it seems like it's even more. I could see it being even more of a problem.
Well, I mean, I'll tell you, when I picked up my Wii U, that was right after some of those first cinematics for the new Zelda came out. And Zelda had no representation, or the Wii U Zelda had no representation at E3.
I wonder if they're going to skip the Wii U.
They're still saying that it's going to. I just don't believe it. Nintendo has definitely lost a lot of stock, as far as I'm concerned, in being truthful about anything. I still feel like Xenoblade Chronicles X is going to be a system seller.
That's what I was considering getting a Wii U for, basically.
It's one of the few games that's actually going to, at this point, sell the system. The run of Mario Kart and Smash Brothers is completely out of the way now. Everyone that was going to buy that's already bought that. So Splatoon has done a great job for Nintendo. I personally don't enjoy the game or have no desire to buy it, but that's just me. Xenoblade's going to be, and this is also on the back of Nintendo saying they want to revamp and restart their RPG division.
I mean, that could be a really good thing. But
the first thing they need to do,
right?
I actually agree with, I don't remember who was saying this, but the first thing they need to do is remake Super Mario RPG.
Yes.
Require them to get Square involved. Square needs all the help they can.
Got all this stuff
right there,
sitting around right on my desk.
That's like we coordinated that, but we really didn't.
Yeah.
There's some characters in that game that cannot be used again unless Square gets involved, and I think that would be a huge deal if they could get back. Not Paper Mario. No, Paper Mario was good, but Super Mario RPG would be a big seller, I think.
Yeah.
If you're looking to getting back into making RPGs, then at least start with one that's using your trademark flagship character and bring back what's widely considered one of the best RPGs of the Super Nintendo era. I mean, it's up there with Final Fantasy and Chrono Trigger.
Yeah. And and we've talked about it before, you and I. When it came out, I remember I used to subscribe to Nintendo Power and all that and seeing it, and I just thinking, yeah, well, it is the kind of game that I like, but it's Mario. It's not going to be that serious. It's not going to be
right. I think everyone probably thought that.
Yeah, I think that was kind of a general thought before it came out. The game was amazing, in my opinion. I mean, now we're talking about it. Now I want to play it.
You had Mario and Bowser fighting together.
Yeah.
New characters to the IP, which was nice. And then it was one of the first ones that I remember. I'm not saying it is the first, but it's one of the first ones that had an action combat system in the turn-based section or segment. Active blocks and attacks. Which
when you got really good at those, you could be nasty.
Well, to be fair, they've carried that on with the Mario and Luigi games for 3DS and DS, but it's never felt the same. They're obviously aimed at a different group. I feel that they're a little kiddier than Super Mario RPG was, but
yeah,
I don't know. I think that's the way to go, Nintendo. So I don't think there's anything else to say about that. Nintendo, don't ruin it for everyone.
Yeah.
Okay, so moving on. For the second week in a row, let's talk about Bungie.
But Bungie again.
Let's talk about Bungie and Destiny because we didn't get enough of it last week. So, after the travesty of articles and everything that happened, and Bungie turning around and saying they were going to sell content, the most recent update to the $40 expansion is a comment coming from Bungie basically stating it's more than DLC, it's a game. Now, I don't know who works for Bungie's PR department, but they suck.
Their responses they just come across as so arrogant. Like, you got slammed when you released Destiny. Yeah, it's got its fans. I was one of them. And you got people that defend it, but way more people that are slamming you from the minute that game went gold. And to respond so arrogantly still, like, show some I don't know,
Humility.
some humility.
These
Yeah.
are the creators of Halo, Steven Himes. I mean, these are the top of the top.
Oh yeah.
Because we don't have enough Halos now that they don't even own it anymore.
Yeah. Well, and I was never not to knock Halo and what it did when it first came out. I was never a Halo fan.
Halo probably single-handedly made the Xbox brand exist.
Yeah, and I think it really pushed. I will say, give it credit for. I think it was really the reason why online shooters have gotten to be as big as they are on console. Halo was the first one that really did it well, that I can remember.
We talk what era are we talking about? Because Perfect Dark, and I mean, Perfect Dark was great. That was Nintendo 64.
Yeah, I mean, I'm talking about like getting online and all that.
Oh, online. I got you.
Yeah. GoldenEye was the first shooter I ever played on a console that was fun.
Dude, we could fire up GoldenEye today. I would still love to play it. That game was great.
Out of it, I'm sure.
Anyway, Bungie. Yeah, it's not. It's more than DLC. It's a game. Okay, so keeping in mind what we were talking about last week, early adopters to the Destiny IP had to spend $60 plus tax for the game. It had about 12 hours of actual storyline in it. The rest of the time could be counted as part of story that might give you another 4 or 5 hours, but really all it was backtracking through the same areas, picking up other stuff. The raid did not ship with the game. Raid was patched in afterward.
Yeah.
I think there were 6 strikes, something like that.
Yeah, 2 strikes per planet, and there were 3 playable planets.
Yeah,
so 6 strikes.
6 team-based areas, and a couple multiplayer maps, and a couple multiplayer modes. So I think there's been 1 raid added per expansion up to this point.
1 raid and 1 strike.
1 raid, 1 strike.
I think 1 strike.
Okay, 1 raid, 1 strike per expansion. That's $20 a piece. For the $40,
5 or 6 story missions, really short story missions.
Yeah, like 2 hours is what I've heard at max.
Yeah, because I played through all of them in one day.
So,
and both strikes and 1 raid.
What they're saying is coming in this one for $40, twice as expensive as the other 2, or the other 2 put together, basically. I love the lack of numbers. New story missions and an array of side quests that conspire to tell the story of our battle to defend our solar system against Oryx and his taken army. Okay, so that's promising nothing more than was in the last 2 expansions. They had story missions too. There's no estimate of time there. Of course not. This is my favorite one. New narrative driven by cinematic cutscenes starring an engaging cast of characters. There hasn't been an engaging character in this series since day 1.
No.
What are they going to do? I mean, is Master Chief going to show up? Because I mean, that's about the only thing they could do here. Engaging characters. What?
I just totally expect to be lied to on that one. I just...
New exotic weapons and armor. That's... I mean, it's a loot grab game. Of course, there's going to be new weapons and
Yeah.
armor. Like
And
that's
that's not content that, in my opinion, is hard to create or should be expensive to
this is
create.
probably stuff. Let's face it, and I would put those three together: the new narrative, new cinematics and characters, and the weapons. Probably were in the initial build and were pulled.
Yeah,
There was a lot of
that's
story stuff pulled from the game initially.
yeah. There's a
From
lot of evidence that points that way.
from the mediocre amount of stuff that I've read, what's going to happen in this expansion is another race is coming in. So this was written in well before the game launched. It was probably in the initial build of the game. I would wager, if we had some way of finding out, I would bet $100 that this was all written into the first build of the game and cut out of it for space and or time constraints. Increased level cap, again, you got to do that.
Yeah.
New subclasses. Now that, depending on how far they're taking that, that could be interesting. I don't know if they're going to put one subclass per full class or what. They haven't said, of course.
There definitely is gonna. I mean, yeah, it's definitely just from playing the game. It's going to be one subclass for each class.
That's
I
what I would
mean, because
imagine
they already had it from release. They already had the slot there in your
about that.
for
Sure did.
the third subclass. So I
Yep.
mean, it's a given.
New cooperative strikes. I love this. Redesigned and reimagined strikes. They're basically going to take this new race of enemies and insert them into the previous strikes and call them reimagined
strikes.
and redesigned.
Yeah, you're going to be running around the same terrain that you ran around. You've been running around in for the last year, and there's just going to be different baddies running around coming from different angles. I mean, they are going to add some new areas, but
I'm sure.
I want them to add a lot of new areas, not just keep recycling.
And of course, last but not least, our biggest raid yet. I mean, look, here's my deal. If you love Destiny and you think it's great, awesome, buy it. They're not getting people on board for this expansion or any ones after this by basically being very lazy. I see this as lazy. It's just completely lazy.
If they want to convince me that it's something I am, and it's going to take a lot of convincing because it's just their attitude and everything's just such a big slap in the face to the people that have supported the game for so long, in my opinion. But if they want to try and get me to consider it, they need to release some numbers. Granted, I guess I'll know the numbers when it actually releases, but I honestly, I need to see the same amount of story for $40. I need to see the same amount of story missions, at least as the game first came out with. Same amount of strikes. A raid that actually launches on release, not one you patch in 2 months later because you don't have your shit together.
Well, let's face it.
Give me some motivation here.
Let's face it. It's not like the precedent hasn't been set before. World of Warcraft, well, I know is a full MMO and not Destiny is a pseudo MMO, but it's trying to build a lot off those MMO roots. They've already set the precedent for what you do in an expansion to an MMO style game. You have to do more, and granted, I think some of theirs were lacking. Wrath of Lich King was woefully underpopulated by new stuff. But at least it took you 30, 40 hours to get through content. Minimum. That's not even seeing everything. That's just getting through it. I don't know. Bungie's lost me on this. I had a lot of respect for Bungie before Destiny came out, and I don't know. Now they're going to have to really put a lot of work into the second Destiny game for me to want to buy it. Put it that way.
You know,
they're going to have to turn their image around a lot.
I didn't follow it. Or go ahead. I'm sorry.
I can't imagine I'm the only one.
Yeah. No. Yeah. I'm definitely in the same boat as you as far as that goes. And, I didn't follow Destiny, played the beta, liked the beta, pre-ordered it, played the hell out of it. Definitely won't pre-order this thing. Probably not going to get my money. Even if it looks pretty good, because I don't know. I mean, when are they going to break more promises in the future? They're going to draw us back in with actually one good expansion, and then charge us $20 for some DLC that's shit again.
Yeah, that's a very good point. I mean, even if they release a brand new game, second in the series, and it's amazing, we know based off of the model of this one that they're going to cut stuff out of it and then sell it back to you for more money.
Yep.
And let's face it, if you got one of the biggest developers doing the biggest hype wise, not necessarily size wise, you got a big developer doing this and they start making money on it. How many other ones are going to start doing the same thing? I mean, there's already enough developers out there that are cutting content and charging more. It's a It was the DLC was the bane of gaming. I said it whenever the 360 first came out, and it's only proven itself to be that way with the big developers. The only ones you see actually releasing full games are the smaller companies that get bad reviews because they're not mainstream and they're not, they're not paying the review sites for
Yeah.
bogus reviews. That's what happens. Gaming journalism has gone through the floor with that.
Yep.
Anything else to say on that one?
Nope. Nope. I'm done. Done with
No more
Destiny.
Hopefully, Destiny will not make it back into the topic list. But you never know. I mean,
If they just keep pulling moves like they're pulling, though, I mean,
yeah,
it's
like I said, I just hope that you and I aren't the only ones out there bashing them for this because we were both pretty hopeful about the series when it first came out.
yeah.
So, moving out of the rage and into more thought-provoking and thoughtful topics. Rebellion, who sounds really familiar. I can't exactly remember what they were part of. They're doing a remake of the remake of Battlezone. Now, Battlezone, the original, is going way back.
Yeah.
Vector-based graphics. The remake of Battlezone was amazing. I loved it. I think that came out in 1998.
Yeah, when I went and looked at videos on it, that was the date that I saw.
Talk about an ambitious game because it added a multiplayer component into it. You had kind of a pseudo base building. You could jump out of your tank and go on foot. And for 1998, that was ambitious to say the least. They're making a remake of the remake.
A remake of the remake.
Which, yeah, I'm excited for. I don't. It could be terrible. I'd probably still play it just because I love Battlezone. But prompted me to think about some other games that we'd like to see remade. So, you want to pitch something in there?
One that when I was thinking about Battlezone popped into my mind, and I actually started to look up stuff on just because I hadn't even looked at pictures of it in so long, that I loved as a kid, that is getting a remake, is Descent, the old six-dimensional spaceship first person shooter type game that they had on the PC back in the days. I think they had 3 of them that came out.
Yeah, I remember Free Space more than anything else.
Yeah. But I don't know. I imagine there are a lot of people that didn't like it because of the 6 degrees of freedom, as they touted. Could be a little cumbersome to deal with. But once you got used to it, I felt like the games were really fun. They're doing a new one. It got kickstarted. It's been fully funded. And the videos that were released so far look pretty cool. It's one I'm definitely looking forward to checking out once it gets released.
Now, Descent was originally owned by Interplay, who Interplay was a huge company I was a supporter of back in the 90s. They did all kind. Well, actually, in the 80s too, they were big behind a lot of the Apple IIgs stuff that I started off my video gaming with. Dungeon Master being the big lead-off that I can think of. Descent, it was a weird game. In the era of Doom and Quake and the first-person shooters, it was a first-person game, but like you said, it had 6-axis movement before 6-axis was a thing.
Yeah.
The only game I can think of kind of like it was Terminal Velocity, and that was not this. You didn't go. You angled up and down, but you didn't explore hallways and stuff like that. That was just like basically a dogfighting type game.
Yeah, it was very strange to have, the six axis movement, pitch yaw, up, down, left, right, all that in a corridor shooter.
Yeah,
But I enjoyed it.
I mean, I remember playing it in damn junior high, elementary, late
Yeah, I mean
elementary, something like that.
it's that old.
That was
I remember installing the first one off a 3.5 millimeter floppy disk or 3.5 inch. I don't even know what they're called anymore. Hell,
3.5 inch.
yeah.
I think Doom 2 took up 32 of them.
Yeah, it was something like that. 'Cause I had Doom 2 on floppies too, and it was an absurd amount of floppies.
So Descent for you. I see. I would love. Mine are a little more obscure, I guess, than that. Other than Warcraft, I'd love new Warcraft, not a WoW, a RTS Warcraft.
Yeah.
They won't do it. They've already destroyed the lore so much at this point in WoW that they'll never do it. But man, I would love to get back out of the sci-fi RTS and go back to medieval fantasy stuff, because between Total Annihilation and StarCraft and Planetary Annihilation, everything's sci-fi now when it comes to RTSs. I don't want to play sci-fi RTSs. I want to play, and no heroes either. I want to go back to the Warcraft 2 style of RTS where there weren't heroes to level up and bullshit like that. I just want straight base building and attack and defense. That's it. That would be great to me.
Yeah. Always enjoyed playing those games. However, to play them against other players, I was always abysmally bad because my style of play did not lend itself to competing with people. I turtled up and just tried to amass the biggest thing you'd ever see.
But see, you could do that in Warcraft 2 because there weren't heroes to throw it off. You weren't leveling heroes up that could stomp everything into the ground. You could turtle legitimately in Warcraft 2 and in Age of Empires 2. If you want to see someone play Age of Empires 2, watch Jay Wills play. Dude, it's sick.
He's good at it.
I never would have thought someone so dumb could be so good. Sorry, Jay Wills.
Oh, God.
No, he's unnaturally good at that game. Like, I think the first time he went back to play it again, it had been years, and he still remembered all his hotkeys, and he's one of those people that's just hotkeying around the map everywhere. It's crazy. I'm going to catch some heat for that. Along that vein, my other one, Command & Conquer Red Alert. I never liked the Command & Conquer series, but the Red Alert series was awesome.
Yeah.
When you started talking about
RTS, that's what I was thinking about.
In fact, I kind of want to put Red Alert 2 in and play it now. I love that game. Oh, God. Did you have another one you want to throw in?
Yeah. There's a lot of people who call me a fool for even thinking that this needs to be redone again or brought back up, but I will always give it hope because I loved the old one so much. I want another Duke Nukem, and I want one done right. I loved Duke Nukem 3D. Absolutely loved it. And I just like the utter cheesiness of the character and his horrible one-liners and all of that so much. I played through Duke Nukem Forever, and I did not absolutely hate it like every other person on the planet did. I won't sit here and say it was a good game, but I didn't hate it. I found myself chuckling quite a bit as I played through the game. It was abysmally short. I mean, you go anywhere and read about what was wrong with it. But there is a game that's coming out that is somehow tied to the Duke Nukem universe. I believe Gearbox is working on it. It's called Bombshell. It's not a first-person shooter, though. It's a top-down shooter, and the hero is, as you would expect due to the title, a bombshell. And she does a lot of the same things Duke Nukem does. Cheesy one-liners. She's fighting against aliens that have come to the planet, and they're like animal people, kind of like the pig cops from Duke Nukem. And it is actually supposed to be somehow slightly related. So that'll be interesting. But I'd like to see a real Duke Nukem get done and get
That's
done
not
properly.
going to happen. I mean, that one's not.
I mean,
That franchise was killed by the development cycle of forever. That is never going to be resurrected again.
you mean a development cycle that took forever, or
Well, there's a reason why it was
it's a bad
called
joke.
forever.
Yeah, it's a bad joke.
Oh, that's a great joke. It's, about 6 years too late, but it's a great joke.
Only other one than that I really think deserves a remake is Daikatana. No, I'm joking,
Oh,
obviously.
okay.
um, I've got
uh,
some others as well that I would like to see remade. But do you have any more?
I do. I'm gonna make a sandwich out of them. I'm gonna take one that everyone's gonna know. X-wing versus TIE Fighter
Uh,
could use a remake more than anything else. My God, if they could somehow find a way to get that license and put it in the hands of a developer that's done space combat well in the past. I spent more time probably playing. I spent probably as much time playing X-wing versus TIE Fighter by myself as I did playing Diablo, and we played a lot of Diablo. But I
yeah.
mean, X-wing versus TIE Fighter was pretty much, still is, in my opinion, the perfect dogfighting game in space. I mean, it just did everything correct if you take into effect the time period it was released in.
Yeah.
Uh, they did release it on Steam recently. Not a remake; it's just a ported copy of it. I haven't played it yet. I'm kind of interested to see if it holds up now, but man, that needs a reboot like nothing else. Maybe with Disney owning Star Wars now and having unlimited money to pump into it, we might see something like that. My worry would be that they would bring it up to the newer films and put in all the stupid, dumb looking ships that came with the new ones. And I don't want that. I want X-Wings and TIE Fighters, not whatever the hell they called the stuff from the new movies. Um, Planescape Torment. If you haven't played Planescape Torment and you like RPGs, you must play Planescape Torment. It's on GOG. You can get it for like $4.
Was trying to think, was there like somebody that maybe it was a modder that was trying to do like an HD release of it or something like
I
that?
don't know.
There was something I'd heard a few years back of something going on
I
with
mean, they did an
Planescape.
HD It's not really HD. They did an updated version of Baldur's Gate 1 and 2,
Yeah, I heard it was.
and they're a buggy mess. I still bought them because I supported the effort, but Torment, where Baldur's Gate had a cheesy story to it and amazing game, Planescape Torment was an amazing game with an amazing story, and you could still play it today. It's one of the few RPGs you can literally play through the entire game without getting into combat if you're amazing at dialogue navigation. It's pretty insane. I would love to see, not necessarily a sequel. I don't think they could do a sequel, but some kind of tie-in with a different character, because it took place in the D&D Planescape setting, which literally has unlimited potential. Anything can happen in Planescape. It's kind of crazy. Another small one, Out of This World. I don't know if you ever played Out of This World.
Yeah, is it? It's on. They have it on PlayStation. If I'm thinking,
I think they do. I think you're right. Yep.
is it? Yeah, and I think was it re-released under a slightly different name, like Another World?
Another World was the initial European release. They had to rename
Okay.
it to Out of This World when it came to
Yeah,
North America.
it
It
was
was
actually probably 4 or 5 months ago. I was actually goofing off playing it.
that game. Now it had an SNES port, but it was originally a PC release. I fond memories of playing that game with my father. I mean, just great, twitchy, story-driven game. And I will finish off my sandwich of games with another one. I'm pretty sure Charcoal would agree with this one too. How long has it been since we've gotten an actual, real Bomberman? An actual, not a 3D bullshit story Bomberman, like
Yeah.
the old school grid style Bomberman games. Nintendo, please give me a Bomberman that's back to the old school 4-player style of screwing over your friends. Like, that's what I want to play.
Yeah.
I don't want a story. I don't want unlockables. I just want to put bombs down and blow people up. That's what I want to do.
Or hook hoses up to them and pump them up until they pop.
Dude, how amazing would that be? 8-player
It would,
Bomberman. That would be
yeah,
insane, but awesome.
yeah,
Dude, I swear to God, if Nintendo said tomorrow, Bomberman, the classic Bomberman sequel coming out for the NX, I would reserve it instantly. I'd buy the system right now. They won't.
no.
You got another one? You got one more?
Um, yeah, and then this one is one I think you'll have a lot of input on as well. I don't know if we'll ever see it. We both played the original like crazy. We did more than just play the original, but Ultima Online. For years since that game came out and has had tons of expansions for it, graphical updates, this, that, and the other. There has always been hints and promises of that another one's coming. They had the Ultima 2 project that got canceled and thrown in the trash. Been multiple times. You can just go Google it. You can just find articles. It seems like every 2 years somebody was saying that we're doing a new Ultima. But yeah, Richard Garriott's not with the same studio anymore. I don't know if it'll ever happen, but he is he is working on a new MMO. So that'll be interesting to pay attention to. I don't honestly know much about it. Don't know if it's going to be Ultima like or a complete departure, but hopefully it'll be Ultima like.
You have to understand something when you're talking about Garriott. His roots do not come in true game design. I mean, his roots come from an overall world design and innovating stuff. I mean, you can make the argument because Calibeth was his first or second. I can't always get them mixed up, but it was right either on the heels or right after, or right before Wizardry. And they fought each other constantly for domination of the early PC role-playing game market. I don't have a lot of faith in Garriott, honestly. I don't think he's good at what he does. I think he's always had a very solid team behind him that were very good at what they did. What was that, Origin
Yeah,
Interactive?
yeah,
The testament to that is the shards are still up.
yeah.
I mean, that game is 15, 16, 17 years old now, I think. Something like that. 98 sounds about right. 98, 99.
Yeah, I remember first hearing about it when I was playing the original Diablo.
I would love to see a new UO, but I'm gonna dash your hopes right now, real quick. With this, I played Darkfall when it first came out. That was 2008, maybe something around there, and it basically made itself out to be the new UO because it was going with the hardcore. If you die, all the
You
stuff
lose
you're
all your
carrying is on the
stuff.
ground. It doesn't matter if a player killed you or a monster killed you or if you got poisoned or because they went for the whole open, let characters do anything like out of UO.
Yeah,
And dude, it tanked so bad. I actually enjoyed the game, and I played it for about a year. And there were those that enjoyed it, but here's the problem: the vast majority of the MMO crowd these days don't like hardcore games. They want their hands held because that's what WoW does. It holds your hand through the whole thing.
yeah,
I really think you'd have a hard time creating something in the spirit of UO with how easy everyone wants stuff to be now. I mean, look at the fact that Dark Souls isn't even all that great a game, to be completely honest, and I played all of them. I love them. The only reason why they really got any notoriety was they were hard.
yeah,
And then it became this niche hipster thing about, oh, we got this game that's super hard. The same thing happened with Ninja Gaiden that came out for Xbox.
yeah. It was ridiculously
It
difficult.
was really hard. And people went, wow, it's a game that I can't beat in like 5 hours and I die a lot. I don't know how to take this. I think if UO got released, and I haven't read much on Shroud of the Avatar, but that is his new project. I think if they did an MMO release of another hardcore game like that, I think it's going to tank really, really hard. People don't have the
Yeah,
patience they used to.
yeah. I mean, that's a good point. You can just look at all the games that come out these days. The really hard ones are either indie or if they are AAA titles, they're few and far between. And being hard is their thing.
Well, and they get worse
Bloodborne.
as it goes on. Demon Souls was very easily the best out of the Souls series, Dark Souls 1 was good. Dark Souls 2, in comparison to 1, was not all that great. In comparison, Demon Souls was terrible. Bloodborne, I wouldn't even rate that up there with them. That's a whole different style. I mean, I don't know.
Well, yeah, and I see I've played a good bit of Bloodborne. I have not. I can't say I've played tons of any of the Souls games. So,
I I would be behind a hardcore game. Don't get me wrong. Um, I think it would make for great stream material too.
oh yeah,
That could be a push, but then again, when you're streaming in an MMO, you're asking to be completely
trolled.
stalked and trolled and everything else.
Especially in one that would be like that. You get stream snipers, bad.
Yep. So I don't know.
But
I do see a lot of push from developers in helping to anonymize. I don't know the exact way to say what I'm trying to go for there, but a lot of these survival games that are large multiplayer games are now starting to take name tags off for that exact reason, so that if you're streaming it, no one can see your name,
yeah,
which is a good push.
yeah, I've seen Lyric get chased around by people that
Did you
just
see Lyric
wanted.
play Tarot?
No, I didn't.
He booted. He literally booted into Tarot when it first came up on Steam, and he had within the first 5 minutes, he's on the newbie aisle or whatever. He
Yeah.
had about 60 people running around behind him, killing all the stuff he was trying to kill, and spamming emotes and laughs and everything. It was the most annoying shit ever.
Oh my
But
god.
it's just, let's face it, the internet is full of miserable people that like to spoil everyone else's fun.
Yeah.
DayZ. Yeah, DayZ is another one. I loved DayZ back when it was a mod. When it became a standalone, it just got really bad. Ugh. I- on one hand, I want remakes, but on the other hand, it's exactly why Chrono Trigger's not in this list for me. They would ruin it. There's no way you can
Yeah.
remake a game like that. Love
Yeah.
to see it, but
Square, if you're listening, don't try. Just don't.
it would be a reimagining, Skibbenheims. Remember, that's what
Oh
the
yeah.
keyword is, reimagining.
Yeah,
Now.
a reimagining that probably would end with the dramatic conclusion of me performing seppuku in the street.
Okay, that's enough of that. Next couple are just little tidbits that I find hilarious. I don't know if anyone remembers that Leland Yee guy that was a senator from California that tried to push a bunch of retail store control bills through the state Senate of California to prevent M-rated games from being sold in a retail outlet.
Yeah, wasn't he in league with that Jack Thompson guy from Florida,
Not
the
in
attorney?
league, but yeah, same deal. Just
Yeah.
nutcase lawyers that want to ruin everyone else's fun. Yeah, so this guy basically made a big deal out of wanting to keep kids safe and telling parents they were horrible parents because they were buying kids M-rated games. He has now been charged and convicted with gun running,
Thug life.
smuggling guns into the states from the Philippines, and racketeering on top of that. So, good job, California. Thank you for yet another. I think Florida is where that Jack Thompson's from.
Yeah,
So
Florida.
that's the
And he
two
ended up
extremes.
nothing crazy like that, but he ended up losing his license to practice law.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Kept filing frivolous lawsuits over and over again. People get sick of your shit.
I don't know. I found that hilarious. I mean, it's for the kids. That's why I'm going to bring a bunch of illegal guns into our country. Good job.
Yeah.
Another small one. The ESL was recently purchased by a company called MTG, Swedish media company. The reason why this is notable is this company is a traditional media organization. It's not an internet or gaming media. It is full sports broadcast, full international media publication. I believe the final price was $86.4 million.
Oh, they could loan me a few.
Well, I find this interesting because not too long ago I was flipping through channels. I think this was back during Easter. Flipping through channels at my parents' house, and ESPNU was running Heroes of the Storm as a collegiate money tournament on ESPNU, 2 or 3 or whatever number. I'm wondering how much esports is going to go up or down based on, because
Yeah.
all these media moguls have ever said is that, especially about ESPN, he had always said, I will never, ever put a quote unquote esports on my on my TV network because I don't respect it.
Yeah, but dollars talk and bullshit walks.
Well, I should also note that he put the smallest and even unreleased MOBA on there, Heroes of the Storm, which is made by Blizzard, by the way. So let's wonder where that money came from.
Yeah.
I mean, you're not going to put League of Legends or Dota 2, which are the two front runners of the genre. You're going to put Heroes of the Storm. Yeah, okay. I don't know.
But, you know, the buyouts and what the companies that perform these buyouts do with the competitive gaming leagues could be really bad. I think the fact that the buyouts are happening is a good sign in a sense. It shows that esports is continuing to grow. It's continuing to draw in more money through sponsorship, through viewers, through advertising, all of that. So I think it's a good sign, but we know how these major media companies can just ruin shit at such a rapid pace.
Well,
that's the
I mean, I just remember, I think it was League Season 4 when they basically made all the players sign agreements stating they would not stream if they were streaming League of Legends. You're not a mobile player, so I know you don't know this, but when you towards the end of the season, when you queue up for a ranked game, it can take 20 to 30 minutes at the top level for it to match make games, because there's only a couple dozen people at your level to play with.
Yeah.
So what these streamers were doing, because let's face it, they're making a lot of money off their streams, they were queuing up and then playing another game in the meantime. When the queue popped, they would either pause or get out of that game, go into the league game. Well, Riot got really pissed about that because they were streaming competitors' games. Competitor, not even streaming other MOBAs, not even in the genre. Hearthstone was the big one. They were playing Hearthstone matches in between these things. Well, that's Blizzard. Blizzard is a direct competitor because of Heroes of the Storm, even though that wasn't even out yet. That wasn't even a developed game yet. But when Riot went with, I don't remember the name of the company, but that was their backer, they basically said, all right, if you're going to be a pro player in the League of Legends scene, you have to sign this agreement stating that you will not stream any games made by, and they just listed companies on your stream. This is your personal stream, I might add.
Yeah.
You are streaming our game, but you can't stream these on your stream.
That's pretty ridiculous. It's kind of, I don't know if it was as bad, but if I remember correctly, for like Call of Duty players, professional MLG players on Xbox, if I remember correctly, in their contracts, they weren't allowed to stream on Twitch TV. They could only stream on the MLG site.
That would totally not surprise me either. That's what I see these buyouts leading to, though. I see major media outlets saying, "Hey, we're gonna pick you up as kind of like the bastard stepchild off to the side over here, and we're going to put your content on TV, but we control your presence online.
Yeah,
we're gonna inflict all these rules on you, and you're basically gonna become figureheads of this company and not a personal." And that's what I think is such a liberating thing about esports is. It's all these guys that are themselves. They're not standing up for some major outlet, major brand. It's just this guy. It's relatable,
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll see what happens with that. MTG. I'll be paying kind of close attention to this because ESL is one of the esports brands that I'm halfway watch. It's not Korean, so. I can understand it. Okay, that leads into the last topic of stream. Tales of Zestiria, which is the upcoming Tales games by Bandai Namco, is going to release on Steam side by side with the console version. And the pre-order incentives include a copy of, if enough people pre-order, get a copy of Symphonia as well on Steam.
That's very interesting. It just to begin with, it's interesting to start seeing these type of games moving into the PC realm more.
Yep.
Um,
Yep. The reason why I find this interesting is we're seeing the Steam boxes come onto the market.
yeah,
We're seeing the Steam controllers come onto the market. They've already got big picture mode set up and have for a while now. All the bugs have been worked out of that for the most part. So all of a sudden, we have Steam in a place where they're now getting some of these smaller developers like Bandai Namco, Compile Heart, a couple of the other JRPG smaller studios are releasing their games on Steam. And Steam is basically going to play like a console.
yeah,
Except Steam is a PC engine, which means modding is very possible.
mm-hmm.
Um,
I mean, you've already seen with the Steam Workshop stuff. They've set it up now where they can officially support mods, and Steam can help install the damn mods. So there's no confusing like, open this zip file and put this there and blah blah
exactly.
blah. So they're perfectly positioned to be able to do that.
Now here's I have it's good in a way. No, it is good. I think it's going to be interesting to watch how this develops because if they can get a couple of the bigger studios on board with this and start day oneing releases on PC, that's a good thing because then that means if I don't own the console, I can still play the game that I want to play.
Yeah,
That takes
and
out your, I sold my Xbox One because had no faith in Microsoft after they screwed it all up. There's a couple of RPGs that will hit Microsoft consoles if they come out on Steam, taken care of. Here's my worry: Batman: Arkham Asylum, or Batman: Arkham Knight, and Mortal Kombat X. Totally screwed up PC ports.
yeah.
And those are from huge development studios that outsource to a smaller one, granted. But so is this going to run well on day one or is it not? That's the question. That could be, something to look out for. I don't know. You know
It,
what? I sure wish they would release Tales of Zestria, or not Zestria, Tales of starts with a V.
Vesperia.
Vesperia. Thank you. That was an Xbox only release. I had it back when I had an Xbox and never played it, and now I can't buy it because it's only on Xbox. The English release did not hit PS3. Only the Japanese did.
Yeah, I'd like to see all this stuff come out on PC and do well. Be properly supported, have good day one releases and all that. Uh, JRPGs, these kinds of games are what drew me back to console gaming. And I don't have anything bad to say about consoles, and I'm spending more time playing games on consoles currently than ever before, and then I play, more time than I'm playing on PC. However, to me personally, the PC's more preferable system. And hey, if I can get it all in one place rather than having to own 5 or 6 different boxes, that's a big win to me too.
Oh, I completely agree. It'll be interesting to see. I hope, because let's face it, I end up streaming a lot of the smaller company stuff. I end up
Yeah.
playing a lot of smaller company stuff. I mean, right now on the last week, I've been playing both Bandai Namco and Compile Heart stuff on stream. So, is at least getting the small companies on is a great start. If they can get the ports over in a correct manner without a lot of headache, then we're doing good.
Yep.
Steam also, may I point out, in the past year has done what graphic novels and
Yeah.
some other questionable content that is not exactly what I would call video games.
Yeah. Well, when I was thinking, what was it? Didn't Steins Gate come out on Steam?
Yeah,
You know?
I believe so. But the thing with Steins Gate is it's not really in the same vein of visual novel that I'm talking about. Like
Oh,
we've seen
well,
things
yeah.
like Honey Pop come out on
Right,
fucking
right.
Steam. Like I don't know where that I don't know where they're getting some of these releases. I even saw one of the really, really explicit ones was originally slated to come out on Steam, and they pulled it.
Hmm.
So I don't know what the push the Valve's making is. I don't know if they're trying to become or open Steam up to be more of a digital platform to distribute everything. Which, if so, I can't say that I won't back that at all because since day one, Steam has been a very solid digital platform. Especially when you compare it to Origin and everything else that's
Yeah.
tried to come afterwards.
Yeah, at this point, Steam's really won me over. Pretty much the only time I don't buy a PC title on Steam is when I can't buy it on Steam,
Yeah,
or there is a collector's edition that I absolutely must have. Um,
all of them.
Shut up. I like surprises and little toys and boxes.
Well, we're going to wrap this up with any questions or comments you guys have.
Yeah.
Go ahead and post an email address on there too. If you want to email me for suggestions for the next show or comments or
Hate
topics, hate mail, I'll forward that to Skivenheims. He's the official
mail.
hate mail person.
Don't address it to me. Address it to him. I just want to read it and laugh later.
While we wait and see if that's there, do you want to plug yourself for a little bit? What you got coming up?
Yeah, I'm still plugging away at Persona 4 Golden. We streamed a bit more of it last night. Made some good progress. I figure I'm going to be finishing that here in July. Have Fallout 3 and Fallout New Vegas coming up, and alongside those, just to kind of stick with what I typically do, because that'll be a pretty big departure, those two games, from what I've normally been playing on stream. I'm gonna pick a JRPG to play at least one day a week, maybe 2 days a week alongside those. And this is outside of the dual streams that me and Keldon do, of course. I just have not totally decided which one yet. I keep thinking I want to do Final Fantasy Type Zero. I'm really interested in it, but at the same time, everything I've heard is that it's not a good stream game. So I don't know. We'll see.
Wait, which one's not a good stream game?
Type Zero.
Ah,
I've heard that multiple times.
yeah, from me.
Yeah, from you. And I could see how it's weirdness with the camera. People don't want to sit around and watch that crap pan back and forth like insanity for hours on end. So I don't know. We may see something else.
I can let you
instead.
borrow Star Ocean.
I own a copy of it if guy would give it back to me.
All right. Well, and I will be finishing Tales of Grace's F here within the next 2 streams, I think, 2 or 3. And once that's finished, I'll be going back for the 3rd time into Suikoden 3 to try to complete it, since the first time was emulated, the second time was a CD that got eaten by the PS2 that I was using. Now it's the
You're
PSN
not
release.
meant to play that game.
I know. It's the PSN release though, so it shouldn't break.
Yeah. The whole system is just going to crash.
Please don't say that. My PS3 is not new.
Yeah.
Once I finish that, I'll be moving into Final Fantasy. I'm going to start with 9 and play 9, 10, and 12. Maybe 8, depending on how much hate mail I get. And then we have the dual streams, so we got to be getting close to the end of Chrono Cross here. I think we got 44 hours or so in right now.
I'm actually staring at my time, and it's 42 hours, 41 minutes, and 19 seconds.
So we're probably getting there. After that, we're going. I don't know when it's going to be because I don't know how many more sessions it'll be. But our first couch co-op is probably going to be Legend of Mana. And we'll probably run like a 10-hour stream of that. It's going to be interesting.
Yeah.
So we will definitely keep you guys updated on that.
Thanks for the follow, Raw Rhino. Definitely check out Keldon's channel as well and give him a follow. Let me put your Address in
Stuff.
chat. Your stuff.
Elevator action. Well, the elevator action will be the beginning of that. That'll be like the first 30 minutes. That's probably all we're gonna be able to take of elevator action, to be honest. But anyway, we are going to jump out of here for about 20 minutes because the dual stream starts at 6.
Yep.
So bring your beverage and your Chrono Cross shoes, and we will jump over into that.
And your best sunglasses.
Best sunglasses, okay. Oh, thank you all for showing up. And like I said, if you got any topics for next week, just shoot me an email or hit me on Twitter. Those are posted underneath the frames, and we will talk to you guys in about 20 minutes.
See you then. Peace.